Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Raw Take. This is your review for the July 19th, 2021 episode of Monday Night Raw. We'll go step by step because this is a doozy. First, John Cena made his return. He talks about how he's happy to be back. Especially in front of the fans. And then he talks about how he's here to face Roman Reigns, although that he's on SmackDown. But he says, he gives his who, what, when, why, and where. And he says his why is because Roman Reigns is a giant asshole. Of course, that entire sentence gets bleeped out. And he says that Roman Reigns is overhyped, overblown, and he's not as over as he thinks he is, and that's coming from him. It is nice to see Cena kind of making light of things people have said about him over the years. This is a pretty good promo. My only issue is it's setting up something that's going to be on SmackDown, which really just makes it feel like he was only there because USA got it as would have made a stink about it like they did with the Hell in a Cell last month, which was stupid, where they demanded they have their own Hell in a Cell. But it is what it is. They get John Cena for a night. This brings out Riddle. Riddle and Cena have a little segment where they say bro back and forth, and then they try to harmonize bro together, and it sounds bad. It was kind of gave me a little chuckle here, but it was harmless. This is to set up a six-man tag. Riddle was teaming with the Viking Raiders. They were taking on John Morrison, AJ Styles, and Omos. This is a pretty fun six-man tag. Nothing too bad. I thought it was pretty fun. Miz got involved and accidentally sprayed Omos, and that led to Omos chasing Miz off, and led to Morrison getting hit with the Viking experience, and Riddle and Viking Raiders win harmless, though stupid enough it sets up another rematch that again between AJ and Omos and the Viking Raiders. That's all they can do is the same match over week after week after week. The having fans back has not changed that at all. We're still getting rematches. Same completely bankrupt crap week after week. But those aren't the things that have annoyed me tonight enough where I decided to finally come back and make videos. We'll get to that. The next in the fun things of WWE, trying to shove Jackson Riker down our throats, and even piping in cheers for him when everybody shown in the crowd were sitting on their frickin' thumbs. Nobody cared. Nobody wants to see Jackson Riker. Nobody will ever want to see Jackson Riker, and they sure as hell don't want him to be a babyface. But Vince McMahon, he's a big guy, so he's got to be the babyface. He's got to win everything. They have him and Elias have a hardcore match that they call a Symphony of Destruction, and this should lead to Dave Mustaine suing them, but that probably won't happen. There wasn't some kind of cool moves in this match, but I didn't care at all. Will never care about this feud. It needs to end. It should have ended last week with a strap match. But no, we had to have one more match because the crowd's back. They're obviously going to want to see this. No, they don't. Nobody's wanted to see these two fight since they've been in this feud. Nobody cares. Enough of Riker. So this brings out next, Charlotte Flair comes out to have her championship celebration. She talks about how she's the only 11th-time champion, even though they missed a few, like when she was NXT Women's Champion. In fact, she literally used her Royal Rumble win to face the NXT Women's Champion at WrestleMania last year. But we're going to forget that because NXT doesn't matter. We'll find that out tonight. We'll get there. But this brings out Rhea Ripley, who won because Charlotte says she could beat Rhea any night of the week. So this brings out Rhea barely even limping, not at all selling her her leg from last night. But she challenges Charlotte to a match. Charlotte tries to back out. This brings out Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and they say that if Rhea feels like she's ready to compete, she will have her rematch tonight in the main event. We'll see where that goes, won't we? Next, we have a women's tag team title eliminator. We haven't seen a title eliminator in any company, have we? Except those are usually meant for something and they're rarely used in that other company. But we get a title eliminator between the women's tag champs, Natalya and Tamina, as they faced again Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Of course, they have Reginald. This is kind of harmless. I couldn't care less about the women's tag division since they obviously don't care. Reginald tried to distract Tamina, or tried to distract Natalya. It backfired. He ended up costing Shayna the match because of short course. Shayna has to take the pin because we can't have Nia get beat. This leads to Nia finally headbutting Reginald, and he's finally kicked to the curb. But right after this, the 24/7 geeks come out, and Tozawa tries to hit Reginald. Reginald does one of his flips, gets out of it, hits a move, and pins Tozawa to win the 24/7 championship. I'm actually not really against Reginald being with those guys, he can stay with them. He can do his little flips and ways he gets out of moves. It can at least be somewhat entertaining as long as he stays away from the women's scene. Just get him away from all that, please. He's been there for 4 months at least, longer than that because it's been since before WrestleMania. So please, just get him away from that. Keep him with 24/7 crew. Next, Sheamus also has a title eliminator match. Again with Humberto Carrillo, because we haven't seen that like 20 million times already. And just like every other time, Sheamus easily beats Carrillo. But it does look like Damian Priest is going to be the next challenger, which I am perfectly fine with. That should be a great match. That should be an awesome match between Damian Priest and Sheamus. Can't wait to see that. It's a fresh match. I'd like to see some fresh matches. Please. Anytime now. Anytime WWE. Anytime Vince. Next, Bobby Lashley comes out and he is going to have a open challenge. This brings back, oh, thank God he's back. Keith Lee makes his return, but he gets beaten 6 minutes by Bobby Lashley. We've been waiting like 6 months for Keith Lee to come back. And for reasons that we still haven't figured out why he wasn't on TV. Because they said it wasn't an injury. Initially I think it was, but the remaining 5 months after he got hurt for a little bit, from what I've heard, it had something to do with them wanting him to hand over the rights to the name Keith Lee, and he wasn't going to do it, so they were keeping him off TV. I don't know if that's actually true. If it is, fuck you, Vince. But Lashley beats Keith Lee to set up Goldberg, because that's who we want to see, Goldberg, for the umpteenth million time. And you know he's winning. You know he's going to beat Bobby Lashley. They've made Bobby Lashley look like an absolute monster 2 nights in a row. He completely thrashed Kofi Kingston, Money in the Bank, and then on Raw, he beats Keith Lee in 6 minutes. We all know this was leading to Goldberg beating him in 3 minutes. I've made little jokes here and there that I'll only take it if Biggie gets his dream match. But even that, I'm joking. I don't want Goldberg anywhere near the title right now. At all. Ever again. And I don't even know why he's still getting title shots. He's lost the last 3. He's lost the last... 2. He's lost the last 2 title matches he's had. He lost to Braun Strowman at WrestleMania last year. And then he lost to Drew McIntyre. So why is he getting another title match against Bobby Lashley, who beat Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania? The guy that the guy that Goldberg couldn't beat in 3 minutes. But he's going to beat Bobby Lashley. We're not at the worst. We'll get to the worst that happened tonight. Jinder Mahal comes out next. He has his his henchmen Veer and Shanky. He said he took away Drew McIntyre's opportunity to win Money in the Bank, and he had Shanky sing Happy Birthday because it's Mahal's birthday. And then while Shanky is singing, Drew comes out and absolutely beats the crap out of Shanky with a chair. I am perfectly fine with this Drew as long as we stop getting story time Drew. I want to see badass, kick everybody's ass Drew McIntyre, not Mr. I'm going to tell you a history lesson. We don't need Dean Douglas 2.0. It didn't work for it didn't work for Shane Douglas. It's damn sure not going to work for Drew McIntyre. Let him be the ass-kicking Scottish guy. How about also we don't give a shit about a sword and a motorcycle. You can have Jinder Mahal versus Drew McIntyre. There's a story built right there. They used to be tag team partners when they were at the lowest in both of their careers. They both got fired. They both worked their way back into WWE. They both became WWE champion. But no, there's no history there. The real history is a sword and a motorcycle that we've never seen Jinder Mahal ride until 2 weeks ago. Now it's a blood feud. Okay, let's get to it. I've been putting it off. We're going to get there. We're there. NXT undefeated champion Karrion Kross makes his WWE Raw debut against Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is back with his No More Words theme, something people have wanted for the last 4 years at least. Finally get him back with that music. Cool. I like Jeff Hardy, but he's been kind of a jobber for a year, maybe more than that. He was just losing on Main Event to Jinder Mahal and one of his henchmen, Veer. Follow along here. Tonight, he comes back. He's got his No More Words theme that he used to have when he was the WWE champion. He's facing the undefeated killer, Karrion Kross, who nobody in NXT has been able to come close to beating. Jeff Hardy beats Karrion Kross with a roll-up in 3 minutes. NXT is dead. NXT has been building up to who can beat Karrion Kross. Finn Balor couldn't do it. Pete Dunne couldn't do it. Johnny Gargano couldn't do it. We were building towards Samoa Joe versus Karrion Kross. It was either going to be... There's been a lot of people who have not cared much at all about Karrion Kross. Everybody's saying he's more fit on the main roster than he is in NXT. So just send him up there. Send him up there, take the title off of him, send him up to Raw. Just we don't mind him if he's on Raw. Sure, go ahead. Just put the title on somebody else. But they've been building up him as the unbeatable monster for the past year and a half, maybe 2 years. He gets beat by Jeff Hardy, who has been losing to everyone in 3 minutes with a roll-up. Who cares about NXT anymore? They just made the entire NXT roster mean nothing. If all these people can't beat Karrion Kross, he's been having 40-minute matches where they can't put him away. Jeff Hardy beats him in 3 minutes. Remember when they were trying to say, oh, NXT's not a developmental anymore. They're a third brand. They're a third brand. 2 years ago, they brought Adam Cole and all these people in, and they won all the big Survivor Series matches. They were built to be the next, just right on par with Raw and SmackDown, because they were putting them head to head with AEW. And we have to make them look good, so people watch that show, so that we can take ratings away from AEW. It didn't work. They ended up having to move to Tuesday because they kept getting crushed in the ratings. Or if they did beat AEW, it was because they were putting on takeover shows on up against AEW. That's the only time they would ever beat them, when they were having some special. So they finally put them on Tuesdays, and they completely forgot all about them. They don't care a fucking bit about NXT. They just proved it tonight. They don't give a flying fuck about NXT. Oh, I'm sure Triple H does. Triple H probably really does. Vince don't. Vince proved he will never care about NXT. All they are is just a bunch of bodies. Why else do you think they fire, like every year, they fire about 30% of the roster? I mean, they already did that they already completely killed 205 Live. They fired literally every wrestler from 205 Live, making that show completely irrelevant. Now they take the NXT champion and completely make him look like a joke. He didn't even get to have Scarlett come out and lip sync the song, which is like basically the entire point of the character, was to have that entrance. That's it. That's really all I think he is an entrance. I don't think he's all that great. They've even basically said it on the show itself that he's not the worker that everybody else on NXT is. He's an entrance. And he didn't even get that on Raw. He came out by himself. having to lip sync his song by himself, and it looked really awkward. Then he loses to Jeff Hardy in 3 minutes. Oh, sure, he had a promo right after saying Jeff Hardy made a big mistake. Who cares? You were undefeated. Now nobody gives a shit about NXT. Nobody will ever again care. I guarantee if it's not this week, next week takes the biggest plunge NXT has ever had. I bet they have their lowest rating they've ever had. Because Raw, WWE just told everyone you should not give two shits about NXT. We don't care about them, so you shouldn't either. I tried to give WWE the benefit of the doubt for so long. I will fully admit I'm a bigger fan of AEW. Call me what you want. But when the reason I have lost so much, and the reason it's hard for me to bring myself to make review videos is because shit that WWE does like this. They built up so much goodwill at Money in the Bank. Had great moments, great matches, Big E winning the Money in the Bank. So much good shit with the Money in the Bank. 24 hours later, they take all that goodwill, flush it down the drain, flush it down the toilet by taking something everyone loves. Most people love NXT. I still love NXT. I love watching NXT. NXT and AEW are the two best wrestling shows, I think, still in the United States. And now Vince McMahon has basically said, I don't care. They're dead. AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan, NWA, and it even sounds like Ring of Honor, and AAA, all seem to want to work together. And put aside egos and open all these forbidden doors and work together and put each other over. They're willing to put each other over. Vince McMahon cannot even put his people that work for his own company. NXT is a brand. It's not like it's a separate company. NXT is part of WWE. Vince McMahon can't even work with NXT. You know, I was just watching the interview Kevin Nash did with Steve Austin. They were talking about when WWE brought in the NWO. They showed Vince McMahon out back there in the back saying he was going to kill his own creation with the NWO. He didn't even need the NWO to kill NXT. He could do it with Jeff Hardy. I There's so much I cannot stand about Vince McMahon. I can't bring myself to say hate, but that's the closest I could be to hating someone. I seriously do not like Vince McMahon. And from everything else, Nick Khan is no better. Move on. If I don't move on, I'm going to be even more pissed off if I don't move on. There is the end that was actually a decent ending to the Raw tonight. We get to the main event. Oh, wait. We have one more crappy thing. Alexa Bliss and Lily is back. They're doing her playground thing in the back. All of a sudden, crowd audio completely goes blank. I don't know why. But this has Eva Marie and Doudrop Piper Niven. They insult Lily, and then Eva Marie does the absolute worst trip I've ever seen. Supposedly it's supposed to make it look like Lily caused her to trip, but it is so... Eva Marie did so bad at trying to trip. It looked awful. Didn't look at all like she tripped. She is the worst actress I've ever seen on WWE. She's a worse actor than she ever was a wrestler. And that's saying a lot. She is still completely terrible. And they're putting one of the best women's wrestlers and saddling one of the best women's wrestlers in Piper Niven with one shit-ass name and then sticking her with Eva Marie. That needs to be dropped very soon. I get it, they're building up to the big moment where Doudrop finally beats up Eva Marie for a big pop. But at this point, I don't think that pop that they think they're going to get is going to happen. Because people just, I know I just do not care. It's not a, ooh, I don't like Eva Marie because she's a bad guy. I don't care. Couldn't care less. I want to see Piper Niven. First, they pretended like nobody even, like they didn't even know who she was. You know, former NXT UK Women's Champion. But we already know they don't care about regular NXT. Why should they care about NXT UK? So we got all that out of the way. Now we get to the main event. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Still a good match. They always have great matches. And then a DQ. Charlotte tried to run out and then hit Rhea with the belt when Rhea ran back after her. But this led to a brawl after the match. Rhea got the better of it. And she hits a riptide on the outside. And this brings out Nikki Ash. Almost a superhero. I've been waiting to see Nikki Cross get a big push for a long time. I'm not sure if I'm all with the almost a superhero gimmick, but everything I've heard about Nikki Cross, she has deserved a shot for years now. She was probably one of my favorite characters ever in NXT when she was part of Sanity, and even after she was in Sanity, when she played the crazy person who she did promos where I wasn't sure if she was acting. That's how good she was. And they completely screwed her up. I even like her tag team stuff later on with Alexa. That ended up being pretty good. Then they dropped that. They have Alexa aligning with Bray Wyatt. We saw where that all led up to. I'm guessing that's what they're going to build to now. Either that or Charlotte's going to come in next week and beat Nikki Ash. Because Nikki Ash cashed in and beat Charlotte for the title. Send everybody home happy. It got a good pop, good reaction. But it's Charlotte. She'll probably win again next week. I would like to see Nikki have a nice long reign. Hell, even have Becky Lynch, if she has to win, have Becky Lynch come in and face her. Something new. Rematch after rematch. Go bring back Goldberg. Completely kill NXT. WWE, Vince McMahon especially, but WWE makes it really hard to remain a wrestling fan. It is such a good thing that there's things like AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor. The NWA has not been all that great. New Japan. So much good. But WWE does its freaking damnedest. This has been your review. This has been your Raw review. This has been the Raw Take. I'll see you next time.